So where is the next trillion-dollar idea hiding? It's a question on everyone's mind. Where are the big, world-changing economic shifts going to come from? Well, today, we're going to dig into a really powerful framework from the McKinsey Global Institute that helps us spot not just new industries, but entire new battlegrounds for innovation. Let's get right into it.
To really get a handle on the future, it helps to just take a quick look at the recent past. Think about something super simple, like watching a movie. Back in 2005, what did you do? You probably checked the newspaper, called some friends, maybe drove to Blockbuster. But today, you just pull out your phone, jump in a group chat, maybe hail an EV, and stream whatever you want on Netflix. That one simple activity now touches semiconductors, the cloud, e-commerce, electric vehicles, all these sectors that have been totally transformed or have just exploded out of nowhere.
So, what we're talking about here isn't just one industry changing. It's the birth of what the source material calls an economic arena. And here's the key difference. An arena isn't some static, boring category like retail. No, it's a dynamic, competitive space like e-commerce that just smashes the old rules, grows like crazy, and forces everyone to either innovate or, well, get left behind.
So how do these arenas even form? The report lays out this cool three-part recipe, kind of like an arena creation potion. First, you need a major leap forward in technology or a totally new business model. Then, you need a flood of investment. We're talking serious money. And finally, you need a huge market that's ready and waiting to jump on the new thing. When you mix those three together, boom, you get an explosion of growth and competition.
Okay, let's break down that first ingredient, a tech step change. We are not talking about a small improvement here. This is a fundamental transformation, something that puts performance on a totally new path, a new S-curve, if you want to get technical. It basically changes the entire game.
The electric vehicle is a perfect example of this. It's not just a car with a different engine, right? It is a complete step change. You've got battery tech that's getting better and better, but you've also got a whole new business model where your car gets software updates over the air, just like your phone. This completely rewrites the rulebook for the entire auto industry.
Next up, you need fuel for the fire. Escalatory investments. This is when companies see this huge opportunity and just start pouring unbelievable amounts of cash and R&D into the space. It becomes a full-blown arms race to innovate, to scale up, and to grab that market before anybody else can.
And the scale of these investments, it's just staggering. I mean, look at this chart. Between 2005 and 2020, big tech players jacked up their capital and R&D spending by a factor of 20. A 20x increase. That is the kind of escalation that builds new arenas and literally transforms economies.
But of course, you can have the greatest tech in the world and all the money to back it up, but it won't matter one bit if no one is actually buying it. So the final and absolutely critical ingredient is a huge, addressable market that is just hungry for whatever this new thing is.
The smartphone is the ultimate case study here. Think about this. Back in 2005, only about a third of the world's population had any kind of mobile phone at all. Fast forward to 2020, and two-thirds of the planet had a super powerful smartphone in their pocket. This gigantic, growing market created this tidal wave of demand, fueling the entire mobile arena, from app stores to all the software and services we can't live without.
Okay, so that's the formula. We've got the three ingredients. Now for the fun part. Let's apply it and look ahead. Where are the next great economic arenas likely to pop up? The report points to a few really exciting possibilities.
And no surprise for the first one, AI software and services. I mean, this is poised to be an absolutely dominant arena. Now, AI isn't new, but the recent explosion of generative AI, that was the massive technological step change needed to just ignite its full potential.
And the potential scale here, it is almost hard to wrap your head around. The high-end forecast for this arena, we're talking up to $4.6 trillion in annual revenue by 2040. That's trillion with a T. Just incredible.
All three of our ingredients are here, plain as day. Generative AI is the step change. You've got massive escalatory investments going into building these huge frontier models. And the market? It's vast, covering everything from fun consumer apps to massive productivity gains for pretty much every business on the planet.
All right, let's switch gears from the digital to the biological. The next potential arena is in biopharmaceuticals. Specifically, we're seeing this new wave of drugs for obesity and related conditions, like the GLP-1 agonists that have been all over the headlines. Basically, these are meds that mimic a natural hormone to help regulate appetite and blood sugar, and they represent a huge step change in how we treat these chronic conditions.
Now, while it's not quite on the same scale as AI, the market potential here is still enormous.
Projections are hitting as high as $280 billion a year by 2040. That is a massive market.
So what's driving this? Well, there's a huge and growing global health need. Obesity is projected to affect a quarter of the world's population by 2035. Plus, as more companies jump in, competition could drive prices down, making these treatments available to way more people. And what's really interesting is how these arenas start to connect. AI is already being used to find new drugs like these way faster, potentially expanding treatments to other diseases too.
The third arena to keep your eye on is one that's been around for a while, but it's going through a fundamental change: space. It is rapidly shifting from something that was purely led by governments to a dynamic, commercially driven sector. And that shift to commercial is unlocking some incredible value. The high-end forecast for the space arena is a potential $1.6 trillion in annual revenue by 2040.
So what's driving all this? It's a huge surge in commercial applications, everything from providing satellite internet to the most remote corners of the globe to using space-based tech to precisely monitor things like agriculture and climate change. The number of use cases is just exploding, and often it's being helped along by advances in other arenas, like AI, for processing all that data.
Okay, so of course, no prediction about the future is ever a sure thing. The report is very clear that there are these huge swing factors, wildcards, that could totally change how these arenas play out.
Two of the biggest wildcards really cut across almost everything we've talked about. First, geopolitics. Are we going to see technology ecosystems split apart along national lines? And second, the pace of AI adoption itself. How fast will companies really integrate it, and what will those productivity gains actually look like in the real world? These are big, open questions.
And I think this quote really grounds the whole analysis. The authors offer this really important dose of humility, reminding us all that, hey, if you look back to 2005, nobody could have accurately predicted the world we live in today. The future is always going to be full of surprises. So you see, this framework isn't just about spotting these massive economic forces, it's about understanding that they are already happening, all around us. The only question left is, which one of these arenas is going to be the first to fundamentally reshape your world?